Now let's go ahead and create our pattern pieces. You've printed out your PDF. At the end of the PDF, there are 5 pages. These 5 pages you're going to use to go ahead and make your pattern pieces. The first thing you want to do before you start assembling any pattern pieces is go ahead and double check that your pattern pieces printed the correct size. When you go to print on your computer, when you go into Adobe Acrobat, you can go to File and Print, and then you'll have a dialog box that pops up. One of the choices in there will be page scaling. So you want to make sure your page scaling is set to either 100% or actual size. If it's scaled in any way, then your pattern pieces are not going to print the correct size. And a good way to check that is on the first of your pattern pieces, there's a test square. It should measure 1 by 1. Just go ahead and use your ruler and make sure that's 1 by 1. And if it is, go ahead and move on and start putting your pattern together. Okay, so the first one we don't need to tape together, so I'm just going to go ahead and set that aside. You have 4 pages that need to be taped together. 2 sets of 2 pages. So you've got 2 pieces that have B and 2 pieces that have A. So really simple, just match the A's to the A's and the B's to the B's. So we're going to go ahead and start out with the A's. What I like to do is what you're going to match is you're going to match the straight lines of both pieces. They're going to sit right on top of each other. So you have a couple options. You can cut it if you want, but what I like to do is just go ahead on one of the pieces and fold it under exactly on that line. Then you're just going to take that folded piece and line up the folded edge with the line of the other piece, making sure that the A and the A are matching. And then just use a little bit of Scotch tape to go ahead and secure the pieces together. Like that. You want to go ahead and do the same thing with your 2 B pattern pieces. Now the next thing you want to do is you want to go ahead and make the pattern piece, because you don't want to cut this out and trace this onto your fabric. You want to make a pattern piece that you can use over and over again. So for my pattern pieces, I like to use, it's kind of a tracing paper. It's called medical table paper. You can also use lightweight interfacing or tracing paper, but you do want something that's a little bit translucent. So if you notice on this piece, it's noted that this piece is placed on the fold. As it's noted in the pattern, you're not going to cut your fabric out on the fold, you're going to cut your pattern piece out on the fold. So go ahead and fold your tissue paper in half, lay it on top of your pattern piece with it folded. Go ahead and trace that with a pencil and then just cut it out with scissors. And then go ahead and open it up and you have your full size bag pattern piece. The last thing you want to make sure you do is go ahead and transfer the markings on the pattern onto your pattern piece. There's only markings to transfer on the A pattern piece. You want to go ahead and note the marks of where the pleats go and go ahead and draw the arrow on too so that you can remember which way they go. And just go ahead and do that on that. And then you're going to flip it over and do the same thing to the other side of the pattern piece. You're going to do that for the A piece and the B piece. There's one more piece that you need to trace. It is the bag band piece. It is noted on the pattern that this piece is 13 inches by 17 inches. You can go ahead and trace it the same way you did for the bag outside piece on the fold with your tissue paper. But if you'd rather rotary cut it, it's noted on the pattern that this piece is 3 inches by 17 inches, so you can do whatever you think is easier. Okay, now that you've got your pattern pieces together, we're ready to start cutting out our bag.